Amazon Lex Chatbot, Introduction and Demo. What is a chatbot? Chatbot is an application that simulates human conversation. We will use Amazon Lex to build our chatbot. Amazon Lex is a fully managed AI service to build conversational interfaces. You could use it to build things like virtual agents. Here's a sample chat with a virtual agent. Here the user Joe is trying to order an ice cream by talking to a virtual agent. After providing his name, he specifies the flavor as chocolate and size as small for his ice cream. The virtual agent takes all these inputs and creates an order. Let's look at some concepts related to chatbots. What is an intent? An intent is a goal that user wants to achieve. For example, a user may want to order an ice cream. That's an intent. Or he may want to cancel an order. That's another intent. What's an utterance? Anything that user says is an utterance, and it results in an intent coming into play. For example, if the user says, I want to place an order, this would be handled by, say, CreateOrderIntent. Or if the user says, can you cancel that order, this would be handled by CancelOrderIntent. What is a slot? Slots are values provided by users to fulfill an intent. While ordering an ice cream, a user could be prompted for flavor and size he is interested in. As a result, a user may say he wants to order a chocolate large ice cream. So these are slots. Confirmation is a step where we can confirm with the user before proceeding with fulfillment. For example, we could say, we are now ready to place an order for a large chocolate ice cream. Please confirm yes or no. Fulfillment. This is a step where we fulfill the intent. So creating an actual order or cancelling an order would be fulfillment. And we could do this in a Lambda function. And if we want to write any custom code, we would do that in a Lambda function. The Lambda function can be configured with the chatbot to be invoked for fulfillment. So for example, we could have an ice cream order function to create or cancel an order. Here's a diagrammatic representation of how this works. Here's the same sample chat we saw earlier, where utterances, slots, confirmation, fulfillment are identified. Let's do a demo now. We will create an ice cream bot. Here you can order an ice cream or cancel an order. While ordering an ice cream, you will provide your name, ice cream flavor, and size. While cancelling an order, you will provide an order number to cancel. We are in AWS Management Console. Let's create a bot. Okay, we choose create a blank bot and give it a bot name, IceCreamBot. And choose the option for create a role with basic permissions. Okay, hit next. Right, so that's our default language, and we leave everything else as default and hit done. So let's create our first intent and call it WelcomeIntent. Next, let us add some sample utterances for this intent. So things like hi, hello, The user might even type help and so on. Now we need to provide a response to these utterances. So under initial response section, we can say things like, okay, I can help you, etc. However, we want to provide a more structured response. Give a user an option to possibly choose from the options we present in front of you. So for that, under advanced options and more options, we add an add group, add card group, and under title we can say what would you like to do, and then add buttons related to that. So things like order ice cream or cancel order. Okay, and then we can update the responses. Okay, save the intent, and we can build the chatbot now, and we'll quickly test what we have done. So when we type hi, so we get a response, okay, what would you like to do? Order an ice cream or cancel an order. So this is working on expected lines. So we will add create order intent now. Choose add intent and provide a name. Next, we will provide sample utterances. I want to create an order, I want to place an order, and things like that. But remember, user would be choosing the options presented to him, like we saw earlier. The user wants to order an ice cream or cancel an order. However, the user could even type one of these utterances. It would have the same effect. Create order intent would come into play. Okay, so we have provided plenty of utterances. Let's move on to initial response. Now, under slots, we will provide information about the data we want to elicit from the end users. For example, we want to find the end user's name, right? So we add a slot called name and a built-in slot type called Amazon.firstName and prompt the user, what is your name? Again, we'll add another slot. We want to know what flavor of ice cream the person is ordering. So flavor and slot type Amazon.alphanumeric. Prompt is what flavor. So here we want to provide the user with information about what flavors are available. So so that he can select one of them. So under advanced options for the slot and more prompt options, For slot prompts, we will add card group. For the card, we will add a title and buttons. So what flavor would you like to order? And let's say things like chocolate, strawberry, vanilla. Now we can save this by hitting update prompts, update slot. Okay, we add one more slot to find out the size of the ice cream. So things like small, medium, large. So for now, we can possibly select alphanumeric as its slot type and prompt the user accordingly. What size, small, medium, large. However, we can also add a custom slot type. So we cancel that and let's go and add a custom slot type. Let's save this first. Back to the intents list, and here you see there's an option for slot types, right? So let's add that. Provide a slot type name. And here we can add values. This allows you to restrict to slot values. So you can see the option to expand values versus restrict to slot values. So we have provided the values of small, medium, large. Okay. We can go back to our intent. And to the slot section and add a slot. Size. Now here you will see the option of size slot type. And we can prompt the user what size. Okay, let's go into the confirmation section now. Make it active and provide a confirmation prompt. So essentially, we are asking the user if he's ready to place the order. And remember that we can provide slot related information here. So for example, size and flavor, it will be automatically filled up. So please confirm yes, no. If the user declines by saying no, right? So we can provide an appropriate response. Okay, order not placed. However, if user says yes, then we move on to the fulfillment section. Let's make that active. And on successful fulfillment, what message do we want to provide? Order successfully placed. And in case of failure, we can provide an appropriate message. Of course, this is a dummy fulfillment. Later, we will add a Lambda function which will do the fulfillment, essentially create or cancel the order. Okay. We can optionally provide a closing response. Let's save the intent and we can build the bot now. Let's do a quick test. Okay. There is an error with fulfillment part. Okay. Let's look at that. So under advanced options, okay, we must uncheck the Lambda function for fulfillment part because we are not using that yet, and we'll come to that later. So let's build again. Okay, let's test. Order an ice cream, provide a name, choose a flavor, provide a size, right? That's the confirmation part. Let's say yes. Okay, that's the fulfillment part. So you have order successfully placed. Right. So this is working as expected. Now let's try the cancel order option. Right. So there you see this is unexpected behavior. Right? So because we have not handled the cancel order part. So let's do that. Okay, let's add cancel order intent now. Let's choose the add intent option, provide a name, cancel order intent. Let's provide some sample utterances for this. So user may type one of these utterances or he may choose from the options presented to him. Okay. So under the initial response part, we can say something like, I can help you with that. And now we want to know what order number the user is trying to cancel. So we add a slot for that and choose slot type as alphanumeric and prompt the user. We can say something like, please provide order number you want to cancel. Okay. So let's add a couple of more utterances here, and we can use the slot order number here, right? So if the user provides this directly, like just says I want to cancel order number, then he or she will not be prompted to provide an order number because it was captured as a part of utterance. Okay, so under confirmation, please confirm yes or no, and if the user declines, just say okay, not canceling the order. Now let's go to the fulfillment section, make that active. On successful fulfillment, we just say your order has been cancelled. Of course, this is a dummy fulfillment. We'll be adding a Lambda function later to do the fulfillment part. So for now, just make sure under advanced section, the use Lambda function is unchecked. Save the intent and we are ready to build. Okay, we can test now. Choose the cancel order option. Okay, please provide an order number. So we provide some order number, and that's the confirmation part. Let's say yes, and the fulfillment part is done. Your order has been cancelled. Now let's do another thing. Let's provide some junk text here. See what happens. See, it goes to a fallback intent. Now that is something we have not handled. Fallback intent. Let's do that. Let's look at the fallback intent. Okay, so when no other intent can handle a user input, fallback intent comes into play. It's a built-in intent. It doesn't have slots and things like that. Okay, and so here under initial response, we can provide some text, and under advanced options, look at what is there in the next step in the conversation. So you want to change that to whatever makes sense for your use case. So here we are going to change that to welcome intent. So the next step is welcome intent. Right? So that's what we have chosen. We update the options, save the intent, and now we are ready to build this. All right, so let's test this. Let's provide some random junk text as an input. So it goes to the fallback intent and then goes to the welcome intent. So this is working on expected lines now. So we want to provide 10% discount for orders that have a large chocolate. We can achieve this via conditional branching. So let's see how we can do that. So for the slot size, we choose the advanced options. And here under a response, look at what is there under next step in conversation, right? So we change that to evaluate conditions, right? And then we hit add conditional branching, and we can give this branch a name. Let's call this discount 10%. And now let's write our condition. So if flavor is chocolate and size is large, right, then the discount should be 10%. That's what we want to do. So if flavor is chocolate and size is large, right, then we will provide a certain message. We can say something like a large chocolate qualifies for a 10% discount. Qualifies for a 10% discount. In addition, we can set values for this condition. If this condition is met, we can set a value in session, and this particular value will be available to us at a later point. So for example, when we integrate Lambda function, whatever we set in session here would be available there. Now let's look at the default flow. So here in this case, there is no discount. So however, we can set a session attribute here. So discount would be 0 here. Okay, we can now update the slot. Ready to build. Okay, so there is an error. Let's go back to our condition and take a look. Okay, that's a condition. If flavor is chocolate and size is large, okay, that should be a single is equal to, right? So I think that's it. Update slot, and we can build now. All right, ready to test. Let's order an ice cream, provide a name, and we choose chocolate option, and let's provide the size as large. Okay, so there you see a large chocolate ice cream qualifies for a 10% discount, right? So the condition was met here. However, where is the next step? It should have gone for confirmation. So I think something is not quite right here. So let's look at what is the next step here after. Um, that's a condition. Yeah, right. So next step in the conversation, it says end conversation. That's not correct. It should go for confirmation. Right? So let's make sure that it's confirmed. Confirm option and update. Let's build and test now. Okay. Provide a name, choose chocolate and large. Okay, yes. So it says large chocolate ice cream qualifies for 10%, and we are at the next step now, ready to place order. Right. So that's the confirmation step. Yes, and now the fulfillment step is also over, and that works as expected. Now let's see the default condition part. So here we will not select large chocolate, but we will select something else. So strawberry, large, and see. We did not get the message that there is 10% discount. So this went for the in the default route. Okay, so this is working on expected lines. Let's see how we can integrate a Lambda function for fulfillment. Okay, we already have a Lambda function that I created earlier. So let's take a look at that. This is written in Python. So let's do a quick code walkthrough. That's the Lambda handler, and the first thing we do is get hold of the intent name. And based on the intent name, we call an appropriate method. So there is a create ice cream order method, and there is a cancel ice cream order method. Here we get hold of the slots. We also extract discount information from the session, and you can create your order here. And that's the cancel ice cream order method. In addition, we have a prepare response method just to prepare an appropriate response. So this Lambda function has already been deployed. So let's go back to our bot configuration. Okay, let's go to the fulfillment section and configure the invocation of the Lambda function for fulfillment. Let's go to the advanced options, okay, and enable that use a Lambda function for fulfillment. Okay, we can update the options here. Let's do the same thing for cancel order intent. We go to the fulfillment section under advanced options, enable the checkbox for use a Lambda function for fulfillment. Update, save the intent, ready to build, and now we can test. Now for testing the draft version, we need to configure the Lambda function to be used. So we do that in settings here. Okay, save that. Choose order ice cream. Provide a name. Let's choose the chocolate flavor. And provide a size. Confirm yes. Now the order has been created. Now look at that message. Now this message is coming from the Lambda function. Let's take a look. So there you can see that message is being created. You can improve upon this Lambda function. However, this will do for now. Okay. Let's check the cancel order part. Let's provide an order number, confirm yes, and it says order has been cancelled. So in the Lambda function, you can see this is where this message is coming from. So this is working on expected lines. For testing the draft version, we provided the Lambda function name here. However, when we create an alias, we need to provide the Lambda function name in the alias. We will see that shortly. Let's see how to create a version and an alias. Until now, we have been working with a draft version of the bot. So let's go to bot versions, and there we will see only the draft version. Let's create a new version. So version is nothing but a snapshot of the bot configuration. Let's hit the create button. Okay, so now we have a new version, right? We are ready to create an alias now. By default, we have a testbot alias which points to the draft version. Hit create alias and give it a name. And choose a version for it. Hit create. Okay, so now we have a new alias. Okay, let's go inside this alias and take a look. So you can see the English language which is enabled. Let's click that. Now here we can configure the Lambda function to use and the Lambda function version. So this is the place to configure the Lambda function for the alias. Okay, so there are some other useful pieces of information that we can take a look at, like under analytics we have utterances statistics. Let's take a look. So all the utterances provided by the end users, their count and status is available here. This is useful information. So this is how we create a version and an alias. Let's look at how to test and debug your bot. So under test, you have an inspect button. When you hit that, it opens a new window which provides you a lot of useful information. For example, as you're doing things with your bot, it shows you what intent is being used, and as the bot is eliciting information, you can see the slots being filled up. So this is useful in understanding how the bot functions. In addition to this, we have a JSON input and output where you can see the request and response. So this is a good way to test and inspect your bot. With this, we come to the end of our discussion on Amazon Lex Chatbots.